Fuck. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, guys, what's going on? I'm not gonna lie, I'm after smacking me knee off this desk when I went to sit down in this chair. But anyways, it is what it is. It's good to have you back on the XQ Regardless podcast. I have my coffee. Let's fucking go. Double espresso, no lattes on this podcast. And I appreciate everyone's emails about Discover 100. That's coming at the end of the month. Really exciting. We're giving away our best product for free, taking 100 people to 100% in 100 days, helping them become an absolute savage and discover what's possible at 100%. Maximize your short stay on this fucking planet. That's what we're doing. And we're doing that for free. So if you haven't got on and you haven't submitted a request to be part of that, email Callum at Execute Regardless. Might be able to get you in on time. But if you have emailed already, looking forward to it. Now, let's just do a little coffee taste and we'll jump right in. Not bad. It's okay. It's a little bit cold. My knee is fucking killing me. But anyways, what are we here for? What are we talking about today? Well, today, topic of conversation is going to be how to stack the odds in your favor. How to increase the likelihood of the outcome in an instant. I'm going to show you how to trick your mind into making something that's really hard in all walks of life, whether it be business, health, career, personal, professional, doesn't matter. I'm going to show you a way of stacking the odds, tricking your mind to make the hard things look easy. So the next time you come across something that looks like a mountain, you can make it look like an anthill and just step right over it, okay? Which means that you can be aggressive in terms of how you move forward because you won't have that weight, that uncertainty, when it comes to being aggressive about how much money you want to make, how far you want to progress, again, personally or professionally. There'll be no limits and you can max out your short and valuable stay on this planet. So that's what we're going to talk about specifically. And for me, a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, never thought it was possible. In fact, not too long ago, I'd say 3 years ago, I would have never thought that I was going to consult with over 120 businesses. I would have never thought that I would go on to, let alone build one successful company, but build a second company. I never thought in terms of I would be able to get my health like this. And there's one hack that I use to trick my mind into essentially getting me whatever I wanted to date. And I still use it right now. And I want to share that with you. I want to save you 6.5 years of effort, sacrifice, trial and error, and give it to you like that so you don't have to go and make all the mistakes I did. So if you stick around till the end of this, I'm telling you, if someone like me can do this, okay, I never done great in school. I'm just a regular person. You know what I mean? Like, I was not meant to end up here. That's what I believe, but maybe God had better plans for me. And I just have faith and I keep rolling with it. But that's what I want to talk about today. So grab your coffee and let's do this. Now, here's the thing. As I said, a lot of stuff going on in my life I never expected. I'll tell you why. I grew up, oh my God, I'm going to sound like fucking Kamala Harris here. Oh my God. Fuck. I don't know, sorry, just off topic. Have you guys seen this Kamala Harris shit popping up where she's like, I grew up in a middle class family? Yeah, like, some would be like, what's your plan for economic policies? And she'll come in and or they'll say something about something so abstract. And she's like, I grew up in a middle class family. And that's where I was just about to say that. But the way I grew up, again, nobody in my family had ever started a business, right? So business to me was like this monumental thing. I always thought that I would work within a company and go through the ranks, make my way to the top and make money by becoming the CEO. That was actually my career path. That was where I wanted to go to college. Starting my own business was a dream, but I never thought it was on the cards. My goal was if I could make 100 grand a year, that would have been like a dream. But my initial goal on my first vision board back in the day when I was first kind of getting into self-development was 50 grand a year. And To me, that was massive. To me, that was like the equivalent of someone wanting to make 10 million. That'll show in terms of how big I saw these mountains. And then I want to get into the change in my mindset that helped me reframe that to make that seem like it was nothing. So the way I grew up, I had no exposure to people making this money. So it was very hard for me to believe that I could do it. Does that make sense? There wasn't anyone in my family. I'd never seen that type of money. Even in terms of health, I never seen someone, not gonna lie, never seen someone in the shape that I'm in right now in person. A lot of the things that happened in my life, I was never exposed to, and I didn't think they were possible. And from the age of about 17, when I set out on this journey, there was a good 5 to 6 years where none of this was happening. It would be like very minute progress. But eventually something clicked. And that's what I want to condense into this for you. Something clicked when I was at rock bottom, when I lost the apartment, and me and Chloe were fleshing out how I was going to move forward, how I was going to improve my life. There was something that changed it all for me. Sorry, I just want to have another sip of my coffee. So, for me, up until this point, before I hit rock bottom, I was just going out on a whim. You know, I always had balls. I always backed myself. And I just had this blind faith that I could do it, but it was not happening. It was like there was still this subconscious belief that I couldn't do it. And you often hear me say, I thought for a while there was an invisible force holding me back. I don't know if any of you guys have ever felt like that, like there's something invisible holding you back. Well, that's what I thought. And I thought the world had something against me. And the likelihood of me getting what I wanted with that mindset was essentially zero. And it wasn't until me and Chloe sat down one day and we were mapping out point A, point B, where I was, where I wanted to get to. But the thing that came after that, which was a very important question, which was why? She said to me, Callum, why are you doing this? Right? And you've probably heard this a million times, but it's important. And I want to frame this to you. She asked me, why was I doing this? And every time I'd got hit with a blow, every time I faced a major challenge, every time I kind of framed what I was doing as this big mountain with my previous why, it always felt like torture with every step. It felt like an uphill battle. It felt like pushing a boulder up a hill, right? I don't know if you feel like that, but that's what it felt like for me. And she said something to me. She said, Callum, why are you really doing this? And initially I thought it was for money, and we ended up getting to the root cause, and it was because I lacked a lot of love in my childhood. Just to be straight with you, I lacked a lot of love in my teens. I had a fucked up relationship with my dad. You know, he went down one way, and that really impacted my life. And I had to I had to make a lot of changes. I had to close off. I had to self-preserve. So much shit happened that scarred me. I was emotionally scarred. And I was emotionally scarred. And we found out that the why for me was I wanted to build something for my kids. I wanted to make sure that when I had kids, they would be proud of their dad, right? Now, I want to ask you something, and here's the instant hack that I'm talking about. Let's say, for me at the time, my goal was to make 10 grand a month, right? 100 grand a year at this moment in time. I wanted to make, 120 grand a year if you want to be specific and do the maths, because I know someone will correct me on that. But, right, I wanted to make 10 grand a month. And to me, that was the mountain. 10 grand a month was like, you know, if I could do that, man, I was fucking balling. Now, in terms of my motive to this date, I was doing it for, I was doing it for ego. I was doing it for the aesthetics. I was doing it for the lifestyle. I was doing it for what people would think of me. And that's actually the reason why it never fucking happened. I'll tell you why. Number one, because I'd always give up easily. And number two, the effort you put in and the certainty you have approaching a situation, you can actually go from uncertain to confident to fucking certain literally the click of a finger, and I'm going to prove this to you, right? So if I said to you, and sorry, we'll take my case. I said, sorry, I want to make sure I phrase this right. I want to make 100 grand a year. Now, my motive, my why at the time was what I just mentioned. My motive or my why was all egotistical, getting caught up in this social competition, this bullshit, what other people have. And that being my why gave me this kind of uncertainty toward approaching this. Now, if we were to flip this on its head, and we were to say, hey, okay, if you make 100 grand a year, you make 100 grand a year, you will get all this desirable stuff that you want, which is bullshit. Or let's flip it. Callum, if you don't make 100 grand within the next 12 months, see those kids, see your kids, see your family. Imagine you had to carry the burden of them not being here. Imagine you had to carry the burden of them being disgraced looking at their father. Whatever the negative consequence you want to attach to it. Let's take, for example, let me ask you a question. If I said to you, within the next 12 months, what is the likelihood in terms of a percentage that you would make $1 million or €1 million? What would you say? Think about this. Let's role play. What is the odds of you making $1 million within the next 12 months on a scale of 100%? What would you say it is? Most people would say anywhere between 0 to 1%, right? Like, let's look at this from a realist point of view, right? From 0 to nothing, you've got no background you've got no idea how you're going to do it. Now, let me reframe it. If you answered between 0 and 1% that you could make $1 million within the next 12 months, let me reframe it. If I asked you and I said, if you didn't make $1 million within the next 12 months, both of your parents are going to die. Right? Think about that. How likely would you be to make $1 million? What's the odds of you making $1 million now? If I said to you, like, let's be legit here. Okay? Let's say, what's the odds of you making $1 million? Just framing it like that, and then saying, what's the odds of you making $1 million this year? But if you didn't, at the end of the year, both of your parents were going to die. How likely would you be to make $1 million? Think about it. It'd be pretty fucking likely. You'd be certain, right? You'd do fucking anything to make that. Am I correct? Of course you would. Of course you would. And this is what I realized. I realized the power of attaching a why, and how you can flip what seems like an uphill battle, pushing a boulder up a hill that fucking hurts with every step, that's just torturous, to essentially taking the same situation and almost feeling like you're at the top of a peak and you're pushing a boulder down a hill, right? That's the power of attaching a fucking strong why and reframing how you approach it. Does that make sense? Okay, and that's what I did. And I use that in every situation now. I just think about what's at stake, what is the cost? Because when you're aware of the cost, you will pay the price. Does that make sense? So that's what I started doing. And in terms of the progress since then, I went on to build Outsource CMO. As I said, we consulted with 120 companies, right? Again, I always say I'm no millionaire. But if an idiot like me can do what I done, and I'm only 26 now, 27 next month, what else is in store? What more can I max from life? What more can I get out of life by leveraging this? It's almost like a superpower, okay? And we went on to not only grow that company, but we've launched a second company, Winners Win. My health, I use the same thing. How can I maximize my fucking short stay on this planet, mentally, physically, in business, right? My health went to places that I could have never imagined. And I said this to someone the other day. I was talking to them and I said, a lot of this stuff, I said, in terms of even how I look, I said, I didn't even realize that my face could look like this. When I was very egotistical, I actually thought I was at my peak with so much stuff, when really I was probably at 20%. And by framing this, I was able to get more out of myself, make the hard things look easy. And that's what you can do too, right? That's what you can do too. And the beautiful thing about this is now, there's nothing on this planet, and I tell you this, I tell you this from experience. There's nothing on this planet, once you start reframing and attaching a strong why, there's nothing on this planet that you can't do. Well, I'm telling you, once it's within the laws of physics, you can fucking do it. It's just the perspective, right? It's the power of perspective, what you tell yourself, the story, the way you approach it. This is what you need to start changing. I'm telling you. And you can leverage this, right, to make fucking mountains look like fucking anthills, to the point where you just step over them, right? Does that make sense? So, what I want to say to you is, to sum this up, all you have to remember is, think of it like pushing a boulder uphill, right? It fucking hurts with every step. That's what happens when you do it for the wrong why, when you have the wrong motive. When you flip it on its head, you approach it the way we said. It goes from pushing the fucking boulder up the hill to being at the top of the peak and just fucking tipping this thing down the hill, right? That's how you take something that seems monumentous, that seems impossible, and making it seem like fucking light work, making the hard things look easy, right? And that is an instant way to increase the likelihood of getting what you want. If you were to do the math, right? If you were to attach it and go deep enough with your why, I'm telling you, you will find that certainty. You will find that motive. When your why is strong, you can't be stopped. You can't be stopped, right? That's how you become unbeatable. Think about it. Let's even ask the question. If you were to say to me, "Hey, Callum, anything, give me any fucking challenge." If you were to say to me, "Callum, let's say your competitor winners win, for example," and you say, because we've had this, right? Let's say legal cases with trademarks and stuff. People coming along and saying, "Hey, you know, we want to fight you for this trademark. We want the intellectual property, blah, blah, blah." I know, there's not even a doubt in my mind, I don't lose a wink of sleep. I'll tell you why. I don't lose a wink of sleep about anybody coming into this market competing with me. I'll tell you why. Because I know in the back of my mind, number one, why I'm doing it, and number two, they are not willing to go the fucking distance. They are not willing to go as far as I'm willing to go, because they're doing it for some bullshit fucking reason. Whereas when I get to the fundamental driver, the fundamental factor behind what I do, man, I'm telling you, I'll walk to the far side of this earth 100 times over in my fucking bare feet on broken glass if I have to. I don't give a shit. I actually don't give a fuck. And one of the questions you can ask yourself is, would I be willing to, I don't know if I can say this, without them, are you allowed to use the word die on a fucking podcast? But would I be willing to die for this, right? Like the true internal motive, right? Would you be willing to die? And when you get to that root level, you can turn what seems like pushing the boulder uphill into downhill momentum, right? And I'm telling you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, all right? And you can max out your short stay on this planet, right? You can increase the likelihood of not only getting what you want, but you can start going after bigger, aggressive goals. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. So listen, we're going to wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed this one. As always, I appreciate you being here. The one thing I would ask, hit the 5-star button on this if you're getting value from it, right? Hit the 5-star button, because we're in 22 countries now around the world, and I want to get this to 100. I don't know how many fucking countries are on the planet. I want to get this to 170, 180, 190. I want to get this when fucking Musk brings this to a different planet. I want to get this shit the biggest podcast in the fucking solar system, right? I'm rambling now. But it would mean the world. That's all I can ask. Again, consider this your one-to-one mentorship. Under a little bit of time pressure today, so we have to cut this one short. But as always, I appreciate you. And if you want to get in on the Discover 100 and you want to be a part of that, you want to save yourself thousands, and you want to discover what's possible and make sure short stay on planet Earth, email Callum at Execute Regardless, and just say Discover 100. I'm in, right? Get involved, and you can fucking shortcut the learning curve, or connect with me on social media and drop me a message. Just say Discover 100. I'm in. My handles are at Cal Roach. Right? I appreciate you. Remember, winners win. And when you roll into today, when you get faced with hardship, not only do what we spoke about, but remember the key, the only difference between winners and losers is the ability to execute regardless. So when you're faced with that thing that you don't want to do, but you know you have to, just don't fucking negotiate, right? Execute regardless. I appreciate you. Let's fucking go. Winners win.